Joining us right now is Scott Longing from the Texas Tech University Plant and Soil Sciences Department. Scott, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So Laura kind of teased your appearance as community gardens, but there's a whole lot.
There are bugs involved.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a whole lot of other things that you do with the Plant and Soil Sciences Department too, as you are an entomologist.
Right.
So I guess tell us some of the things that you have been doing lately through Plant and Soil Sciences.
Well, yesterday we helped out with Heart of Lubbock Community Garden. It's located over on Avenue X and 21st, I think. So we're building an insect hotel there, which is we're simply modifying the habitat, making the habitat more varied.
Is this a 5-star hotel?
It's a 5-star hotel.
Nice.
Of course.
What exactly is a bug hotel? Insect hotel.
It primarily.
I've been in some hotels that had some bugs.
Right.
We won't talk about that.
There, right? Yeah. We simply make the habitat more complex to invite different varieties of insects with the goal to house more beneficial insects that will eat the pests of the garden. And also we have we'll drill out pieces of wood so bees can use the holes in the wood to provision pollen, and they can lay their eggs and raise young and perpetuate those populations. So it's just a variety of structure, I guess, wood structure, and it can be anything, plants and broken pieces of clay pots and things like that, and just with the goal to increase the complexity of the habitat.
Yeah.
Have you found that by doing that with the wood, it helps keep the bee population intact?
It does help. One of the biggest things that have influenced bee decline is the loss of habitat. So any dead snags you have on your property or any dead pieces of wood, things like that, the bees will find existing holes in that wood and provision pollen, gather pollen, and make little cells in those holes and lay an egg on the pollen, and then the egg will hatch into a larva. The larva will eat the pollen and then pupate and emerge as another bee. So anything we do to preserve the existing habitat, that does help the bee populations.
Where are we right now on bee population?
Generally, that there's documentation that the number of honeybee colonies have declined. I think in the U.S. we have it's somewhere like 250,000 hives. So that's declined quite a bit. I'm sorry, I said 250. It's about 2 million hives is what we have. That's down from like the 40s and 50s. We had about 5 million hives in the U.S. So the number of colonies have declined. Colony collapse disorder is a phenomenon that was first documented back in 2006, where honeybee colonies they would leave and go forage and then not return. So since that's been documented, we've started to look at why that's happening, and some of the factors that lead to honeybee decline have gone over into some of our wild bee populations. So some of the diseases and pests and things like that are starting to affect the wild bees. So it's kind of a complex issue, but there's a lot of research effort going into determining the factors that are affecting the bee populations. And as one of our most important pollinators, there's potential for some serious implications there with food production and things like that if we do lose more populations.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty serious business. And I've heard about people in urban areas, even in high-rise apartments, having beehives on the top of their buildings.
Yeah, that's urban beekeeping. That's something that can be done. There's contrary to what it might appear, there's sometimes a lot of nectar sources within urban gardens and some concentrated nectar sources. But I was at a conference with my wife last year in Montreal, and the hotel we were staying in had a couple of beehives on the hotel, and they were selling the honey in the lobby of the hotel. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that's very beneficial. Eating honey from your area can actually, they say, help with controlling your allergies.
Right. That's what they...
Yeah, pretty smart.
I never knew that.
Yeah. You're supposed to have, what, a teaspoon a day?
Yeah, it's honey's got a lot of good
of local
lot of good
honey
stuff in it.
Yeah.
Scott Longing with Texas Tech University Plant and Soil Sciences joining us right now on News Talk 790 KFYO, KFYO.com. Rab Snyder filling in for Tom Collins along with Laura Mack. Scott, what are some of the other programs that your specific portion of Plant and Soil Sciences is taking care of or doing right now?
Well, as the entomologist in plant and soil science, I kind of handle everything insect related. If it comes our way. But as far as from a research standpoint, right now we're actually focusing on pollinator conservation and ecology in the region and documenting the existing bee biodiversity that we have here on the Southern High Plains, and also different regions that are adjacent to the Lubbock area. We've been working in the Monaghan Sandhills, which is sort of locally, it's kind of a least affected area, but it's surrounded by a lot of oil and gas development. So we're looking at the bee diversity within that semi-wild area. The Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge, that's another area here that we're looking to gain information from to compare how the bee populations in our agricultural area compares to those populations. So we kind of have a targeted endpoint there. So when we do develop conservation actions, we can gauge, how effective they are and what sort of diversity we have in comparison to those least affected areas. We also help out with some community type stuff. We do some service learning projects. I have my introductory entomology class do some outreach projects to different schools. Harwell Elementary is one we just finished up this semester. The Early Childhood Development Center at Texas Tech, we did some projects there.
What kind of projects do you do with little ones like that?
Well, it's tough. We have to kind of gauge it based on the ages of the students. But we'll just go and we'll teach them some basic biological concepts and basic ecology of insects. The outreach project we did at Harwell Elementary was actually involved eating insects. So we
how did that go over?
They loved it. It was we had a continual line of students.
Better than school lunch, right?
Yeah. It's surprisingly, I'd say the majority of them wanted to eat I think we had dried crickets and mealworms. And,
really?
Yeah, they were all over it. They readily.
Kids are crazy.
Yeah.
So did the majority of the children try them?
Yeah, they did. It was surprising.
That's funny.
They got in line and they stepped up and ate the insects. But we were trying to show them that, insects can be nutritious, or they are nutritious, and they can be, a lot of countries outside the U.S., they depend on insects for, nutrition.
They do.
So it's, it's something good to introduce to students early on. Now there's a couple of companies in the U.S. that are actually mass producing cricket powder to replace traditional flour and things like that. And you can bake cookies and bread and things like that with it.
Interesting.
Yes, we don't have any at my house yet.
I'll bring you some.
Oh, great.
Scott Longing with Texas Tech University Plant and Soil Sciences. Right quick, before we wrap up the interview, tell everybody where they can find Plant and Soil Sciences online, and then if you yourself have any social media as well.
Okay, we have a website, the Department of Plant and Soil Science at Texas Tech. You can Google that and find us. We have an Entomology Club Facebook page, and we just started up a departmental Facebook page, Plant and Soil Science. So a variety of sources out there, if you want to stop by campus and come see us, we're always willing to talk.
Great.
Scott, thanks again for coming in today.
Yes, sir.